Welcome to Wisdom Scrolls Volume 1. In this transmission, we'll be reading the introduction and first chapter of my book, which was inspired by Florence Scovel Shinn's 1925 classic, The Game of Life and How to Play It, a metaphysical guide to mastering the laws of life and spirit. This modern reflection offers select passages alongside insights and practices to illuminate your journey. Let's begin. Introduction. The preparation of this book was influenced and inspired by Florence Scovel Shinn's book, The Game of Life and How to Play It, which was published in 1925. Her book was truly ahead of her time, divulging her success principles as well as the universal laws that drive our lives, albeit consciously or unconsciously. Although Shinn's book is a classic, I felt a modern tone and viewpoint on these shared universal truths and concepts would be valuable and beneficial at this time. It's become clear to me that global consciousness is elevating. Manifestations are happening at a quicker pace, and each of us is being given the choice to either lead our lives in a conscious, intentional manner or let our conditioning and unconscious ego mind run our lives. I will state here in the beginning, it is my belief that there is no right or wrong way to play this game of life. The concept of winners and losers is a man-made one. Instead, we are each embarking on a hero's journey, the soul's epic odyssey and adventure back to the one self. No one journey is the same, yet there are spiritual laws as well as life themes, roles, and archetypes which play out similarly and can shed light on our own unique path. With that, I invite you to keep an open mind as you listen along. You may be asked, at times, to question long-standing beliefs and examine ideas society has conditioned you to accept as true. I simply encourage you to feel in your heart what resonates most clearly for you. Also, note that the concepts covered may begin to sound repetitive, yet this is intentional. Repetition is crucial in rewiring the subconscious mind by reinforcing new patterns of thought and behavior. By repeatedly exposing ourselves to certain concepts or truths, we gradually shift our subconscious programming, which ultimately shapes our perceptions and influences our reality. My vision is that this collection of insights will empower you, help you to recognize the truth that already lies within you, and place you on the path to your highest evolution. I also trust this puts your challenges into a new perspective and allows you to tap into your own inner wisdom and peace, enabling you to become the fullest expression of yourself, as that is the point of this game. So with that, let's play. All love, Carolina. Important note, quotes that appear in this book that are not credited with their source are taken from Florence Scovel Shinn's book, The Game of Life and How to Play It. Because her book is part of the public domain, I am able to quote freely. The book is also available to you, the listener, in its entirety online. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. Part 1. The Game. Most people consider life a battle, but it is not a battle, it is a game. Life is a game, but it can feel like a battle when we don't know the rules. In order to find the most success in life, in terms of health, wealth, love, friends, and perfect self-expression, and to fully enjoy playing this game, it is vital to understand the rules or universal laws at play and embody this knowledge. Rule number 1, know thyself. We must be aware and have an accurate understanding of our true spiritual nature. To truly know ourselves, it's important to recognize we are not simply a physical being. While that is one aspect of ourselves, our core and primordial essence is the beingness, or the self, universal consciousness, source awareness, infinite spirit, which expresses itself as us in a physical world. This means you are an expression of source consciousness, first and foremost. When we forget our true nature, we build a life and identity out of alignment with this highest truth. We may face struggle, hardship, and experience the life game as a world of suffering. We avoid pain and seek pleasure, and believe in the limitations set by the ego mind. Yet this path eventually leads us to awakening, where we come back to knowing and recognizing the interconnectedness of all life and our unique role in it. We begin to peel back the layers, or pierce the veil, so to speak, of the illusory notions that physical reality is the be-all, end-all of existence, and empower ourselves with rediscovered knowledge that supports our growth on all levels. How reality actually works can be described by the following. Infinite spirit leads to mind, thought, and emotion, which leads to body and world. From unlimited spirit arises the mind, which is a composite of all our thoughts and feelings. The mind then distinguishes between the body and the world, establishing a sense of duality. As we experience ourselves in the world, we become conditioned with survival-based mental programs, and the ego structure arises. We then externalize our sense of safety, security, approval, control, and love, not realizing that these attributes are already inherent within us. Much of the inner work we do is shifting our mindset and perceptions back to this truth and knowing of our real selves, which then transforms how we view and experience the world around us. Rule number 2. We must understand the inner workings of our mind if we are to achieve self-mastery and create what it is we desire. Whatever it is we desire has already been given to us on a spiritual level, yet to manifest it physically, it's necessary to align our heart and mind. Having an understanding of the 3 levels of mind is absolutely necessary in training the mind and living a life according to our true nature and highest potential. The 3 departments or levels of mind include the subconscious, conscious, and superconscious. The conscious mind, or carnal mind, is what we use to operate in our daily activities and waking hours, yet it represents only a small portion of our consciousness and awareness. It comes from without and sees the appearances of all kinds of falsities. It is driven by logic, reason, and analysis, focusing on the external world and how we interact with it. The conscious mind is often preoccupied with immediate tasks, decision-making, and problem-solving, based on sensory input and learned information. However, because it is limited in scope, it often fails to perceive the deeper truths and realities that lie beyond our immediate perception. It tends to accept the surface-level appearances of situations and can be easily influenced by societal conditioning, fears, and limiting beliefs. This makes it susceptible to doubt, worry, and misinterpretation of our true potential and the true nature of reality. To achieve a more integrative and holistic understanding and live a more fulfilling life, we must learn to go beyond the conscious mind and tap into the deeper layers of our subconscious and superconscious minds. The subconscious mind lies below the level of conscious awareness. It records everything we do and think, yet, for the most part, this part of our consciousness remains hidden from our everyday awareness. It is simply raw power without direction. It is given direction by our imaging faculty, or imagination, through use of symbols, thoughts, images, and feelings. It can be likened to electricity in that it's always there waiting to be used, and it does what it's directed to do. The subconscious has tremendous influence on how we think and act. Whatever man feels deeply or images clearly is impressed upon the subconscious mind and carried out in minutest detail. Increasing our self-awareness of what thoughts and beliefs we hold and which ones are being impressed on our subconscious is a major step in shifting our lives in the direction of our choosing. The man born rich and healthy has had pictures in his subconscious mind in his past life of health and riches, and the poor and sick man of disease and poverty. Man manifests on any plane the sum total of his subconscious beliefs. In truth, our subconscious mind ultimately runs our lives. This programming and conditioning stems from a variety of factors throughout our lives, including early childhood experiences, familial and ancestral influences, past life experiences, and social conditioning. Becoming aware of these influences can help us understand and potentially reshape our subconscious beliefs to align more closely with our true desires and intentions. Note, any area of our lives where we feel limited is likely where we have subconscious programs or beliefs that are no longer serving us. These programs and beliefs become ingrained patterns in the subconscious through repetition and habit, which, on a practical level, helps us compartmentalize behavior, allowing our conscious awareness to focus on other matters. For example, activities like brushing our teeth or driving become so habitual that we can think about other things while our subconscious mind takes care of the action. While this can be helpful when we are unaware of these patterns and habits, we tend to move through our lives unconsciously, without deliberation and without present moment awareness. With that, our subconscious mind is often rooted in the past. In order to influence it and bring it up to speed, we must enlist the help of the conscious mind awareness and the superconscious mind. The superconscious mind, or higher consciousness, perceives beyond physical material reality and instead views everything from a higher vantage point, as energy and consciousness. It is the realm of perfect ideas, the greater context, and truth. It can be seen as our link to universal consciousness, the God mind, or infinite intelligence. It resides within each of us and retains our divine design or perfect destiny. This divine design or perfect picture usually flashes across the conscious as an unattainable ideal, something too good to be true. In reality, it is man's true destiny or destination, flashed to him from the infinite intelligence which is within himself. Many people, however, are in ignorance of their true destinies and are striving for things and situations which do not belong to them and would only bring failure and dissatisfaction if attained. An example of this is how many people are conditioned to believe that by attaining great wealth or material things they will be happy, when in reality, those external things aren't what create lasting contentment or peace. In essence, they are falling into a destiny that someone else laid out for them, namely society. When they discover what truly lights them up and brings them joy, then they're following their inner guidance and superconscious and living out their divine design and destiny. If we happen to find ourselves off our unique path laid out by our superconscious, the law of substitution can come in handy. The law of substitution is a spiritual law, which states that any thought you want to let go of has to be replaced immediately by another thought. It is impossible to eliminate a thought from your mind unless you fill the space with something else, i.e., switching your attention and focus. To use this law, just decide what you want to have happen, and every time your mind turns to fear, doubt, failure, or frustration, substitute the thought for what you'd want to happen instead. This is what allows us to substitute an illusory or false idea with the divine idea. In this way, the right idea is substituted for the wrong one, with no loss or sacrifice involved. Rule number 3. Our imagination is the tool by which we play the game and create. And with that, perception is everything. In this game of life, we are gifted with the ability to perceive our experiences through our senses. However, this doesn't mean that what our senses tell us or the conclusions we draw from them is the absolute truth. The book, A Course in Miracles, explains how perception is not a reflection of reality, but rather a reflection of our own minds. The Course teaches that our perceptions are filtered through our own beliefs, thoughts, and emotions, which can distort our understanding of the world. It also distinguishes between perception and knowledge. Perception is the process of interpreting and understanding the world through the senses, whereas knowledge is the direct awareness of truth. While perception is limited and can be influenced by the ego, knowledge is eternal and unchanging. Perception is intrinsically tied to our beliefs and thoughts because it serves as the lens through which we interpret and understand the world around us. Our beliefs and thoughts shape our perception in several key ways. 1. filtering information. Our beliefs act as a filter for incoming information. We tend to notice and give more weight to information that confirms our existing beliefs and disregard or minimize information that contradicts them. This is known as confirmation bias. 2. Interpreting experiences. The way we interpret our experiences is influenced by our pre-existing thoughts and beliefs. For example, if we believe that the world is a hostile place, we are more likely to perceive neutral actions as threatening. 3. Forming expectations. Our beliefs and thoughts create expectations about how the world should work and how events will unfold. These expectations can influence our perceptions of reality and can even create self-fulfilling prophecies. 4. Emotional responses. Our thoughts and beliefs affect our emotional reactions to situations. A positive belief system can lead to feelings of hope and happiness, whereas negative beliefs can result in fear, anxiety, and depression. 5. Behavioral influence. The way we perceive situations influences our behavior. If we perceive a situation as an opportunity, we are more likely to engage with it positively. Conversely, if we see it as a threat, we may avoid it or react defensively. In essence, our perception of reality is constructed by our thoughts and beliefs, which in turn shape our experiences and interactions with the world. Changing our thoughts and beliefs can, therefore, alter our perception and ultimately transform our reality. It is our perception of the world and ourselves that is mirrored in our external experience and reality. In other words, the outer world is a reflection of our internal perception and state. Therefore, the first step to living a conscious life is to become mindful of how we are choosing to perceive, as that directly impacts what we imagine and thus create. The imaging faculty. Perception and imagination are intertwined processes, where imagination enriches and shapes our perception of reality, while perception provides the sensory input and experiences that fuel our imaginative capabilities. Together, they enable us to navigate, interpret, and creatively engage with the world. Our imaging faculty, or imagination, then consists of our beliefs, thoughts, words, and deeds. To be successful and to create the life we desire, we must train our imagination to focus only on those things that are life-promoting or affirming. In other words, we must focus only on what is true. What man images sooner or later externalizes in his affairs. This means that our strongly held beliefs, thoughts, and mental images, whether positive or negative, will eventually manifest in our physical reality. By consciously directing our imagination and maintaining a focus on desired outcomes, we can shape our experiences and create a life that aligns with our highest aspirations. It's a reminder of the power of the mind and the importance of cultivating a positive inner vision. Tip: if you're unsure of what beliefs or thoughts may be holding you back, it can be helpful to examine the meaning you're choosing to place on your experiences. Know that the meaning you place on a situation or experience is the belief that created it. In this way, by becoming aware of our beliefs and shifting them, we shift our reality. If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. William Blake. Rule number 4. True power comes from within, so pay close attention to your state of being, including the thoughts you think, the feelings you emit, and the words you speak. Many people have brought disaster into their lives through idle words. Words have power. All of our thoughts and words have energy and are taken seriously by the subconscious mind. Even if we're joking, the subconscious mind has no sense of humor and takes what we think and say as explicit direction. With that, every desire, uttered or unexpressed, is a demand. So either we are creating with conscious awareness or miscreating out of unconsciousness. With that, affirm divine right ideas coming to you from the superconscious. These will be thoughts, words, and inspirations that bring with them a sense of expansion, peace, ease, love, enthusiasm, and joy. Know that there is always plenty on man's pathway, but it can only be brought into manifestation through desire, faith, or the spoken word. While Source, God, infinite intelligence, is ever ready to carry out man's smallest or greatest demands, it is necessary for us to make the first move through thought, word, or deed. This doesn't necessarily mean it requires a ton of effort on our part. What it does mean is we have to be clear in our asking and take inspired action when it feels in alignment with what it is we want to create. An area where it actually may take a bit of effort, particularly in the beginning, is letting go of our internal resistance to our desires. When we begin to doubt what it is we want to call into our lives, especially if we don't see it manifesting quickly enough, we add unnecessary resistance, which the subconscious mind then acts upon. The same goes for fear. Instead of becoming doubtful or fearful, practice cultivating trust and patience. Just as a farmer doesn't rush the seeds he has planted and instead allows nature to work her magic, we cannot rush our desires. Have faith that they are unfolding perfectly for you and in divine timing. Nothing stands between man and his highest ideals and every desire of his heart but doubt and fear. When man can wish without worrying, every desire will be instantly fulfilled. When we worry, we are misusing our energy and subconscious power. When we find ourselves worrying, it can help to remind ourselves of the following statement. Why worry? It will probably never happen. It is man's only enemy, a fear of lack, fear of failure, fear of sickness, fear of loss, and a feeling of insecurity on some plane. We must substitute faith for fear is only inverted faith, and it is faith in evil instead of good. There is an important reason why fear must be erased from our consciousness, which we will speak on in more detail in the following chapters. Just keep in mind that the subconscious mind is man's faithful servant, but one must be careful to give it the right orders. Man has an ever-silent listener at his side, his subconscious mind. Every thought, every word is impressed upon it and carried out in amazing detail. Tip: if you're still having a hard time releasing doubt, remember that if you weren't meant to attain your desires or divine design in life, Source would not have placed the vision in your mind to begin with. Ultimately, this process teaches us to use our conscious awareness to align our subconscious mind with our superconscious divine design. A useful analogy here is seeing the subconscious mind as a computer operating system. When we update it with our divine design or a new operating system, we let go of the outdated programming we no longer wish to keep and which is no longer serving us. The thoughts we think over time form our beliefs and overall mindset. Our beliefs and subsequent thoughts then impact our emotions and feelings, which then affect our decisions, behavior, and actions. This, in turn, shapes our character and ultimately our destiny. Whatever we think and feel deeply, good or bad, is outpictured by our subconscious mind and reflected in our lives and outer experience. His body and affairs show forth what he has been picturing. The sick man has pictured sickness, the poor man poverty, the rich man wealth. To be true architects of our lives, we must learn to discipline the mind and reconstruct it in a way that supports our divine design and is in alignment with the vision of our life that Source, God, infinite intelligence has for our lives. This is what allows us to live authentic to ourselves and our true nature. Rule number 5. This is a game of giving and receiving, where every action has a reaction or consequence. We can relate this to karma, whereby what you put out is what you'll get back. This also describes the law of attraction, which states what you think, feel, and envision will attract to you a matching external representation. This is because what we experience externally is a physical manifestation of our inner state of being. As within, so without. If he gives hate, he will receive hate. If he gives love, he will receive love. If he gives criticism, he will receive criticism. If he cheats, he will be cheated. This is all part of the balancing of energies in the universe, as well as a powerful method by which we learn. We learn best through experience. So experiencing firsthand what it feels like to be on the receiving end of what we are giving out allows us to make wiser, more conscious choices moving forward. In this way, our self-awareness and level of consciousness expands. The object of the game. Beyond simply enjoying the miracle of our existence, the object and end goal of this game of life is to live out our divine design by developing right-mindedness. We do this by seeing clearly one's good and to obliterate all mental pictures of evil. This must be done by impressing the subconscious mind with a realization of good. Note, evil in the greater sense means all those things, actions, and perceptions that have been made out of ignorance or unconsciousness. As we replace unconsciousness with awareness and right-mindedness, we begin to experience the square of life, or the game completed, which is the experience of health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. Once we've developed and embodied right-mindedness, then we can begin to focus on one-mindedness, or a mind that is in perfect alignment with truth, source awareness, and infinite intelligence. At that point, our lives take on a whole new meaning. We recognize and embody total liberation, having realized that we are not just an extension of Source. We are the One Self, playing a game of seeming individualization and separation. Our perception as an individual separate from the whole then dissolves and we self-realize. This is the ultimate prize of winning the game, commonly referred to as enlightenment. The paradox is that we, being Source consciousness, are already enlightened. We are that. We are essentially just removing the layers of illusion keeping us from knowing and embodying this truth fully. It may take time or lifetimes, yet this is the whole point of the journey. Take comfort in knowing the destination will always remain the same, and you are here to experience and enjoy the game. Now let the game begin. State the following affirmation to set your intention for a new trajectory, one that is in accordance with your superconscious divine design. Remember, man can change his conditions by changing his words. So speak these words aloud with power and conviction. I now release by my spoken word every untrue program in my subconscious mind. They shall return to their native nothingness, for they came from my own vain imaginings. I now create my perfect program through the truth and wisdom found within, with the help of my higher self, spirit, and God consciousness. And so it is. If you enjoyed this free sample of the book, please consider purchasing the full PDF and audiobook on our website, beyondmaya.co.